like to welcome everybody to another Facebook Live with the National Axial Spondyloarthritis Society, NASS. My name's Heather Harrison. I'm a physio in York, and I'm a physio that runs the York NASS group. I've not done a Facebook Live session before, so I'm hoping the technology is going okay and that we're live. It's a bit strange not having any feedback, so we'll see how it goes. So tonight I want to talk about improving balance and trying to prevent falls with axial spondyloarthropathy, AXPAR, AS. What I thought we'd do is to start off look at why people with AXPAR are more likely to fall, what the factors are that give you risk factors for falling. Then look at how we can reduce those factors and what things you can put in place, looking at how you can fall-proof your house, and also looking that if you do fall, how you would then be able to stop that fall, or what you would do if you were to fall. At the end of the session, what I want to do is to have a talk and go through some exercises that you can try. The exercises are at different levels. I'll have a chat before we come to do those, and so you can have a look at those. What I would probably suggest is that you watch the exercises first, see what level you think you're at before you come to do them, so that you've got an idea of what to expect, and after you can watch this back time and time again. Now I'm hoping that I will be able to see comments. At the moment I can't, so I'm just going to press a button and see if I can. Oh yep, there's a comment come up, so I can see comments. What I will try and do is answer questions at the end, if that's okay. So I think Zoe Clark, who's from NASS, is going to answer some of the questions as well as we go along, and what I will do is hopefully have a look at the questions at the end so we can go through them. So we'll see how we get on. Like I say, my technology's not great, so we'll see how it goes. So falls are often quite common and they can be disregarded, and people think it's naturally part of ageing or having an arthritic condition. And that's difficult because falls do cause injury, and not only do they cause physical injury, but people, if they are falling, can lose a lot of confidence, and confidence in going out, confidence in moving around the house, and that can cause sometimes people actually becoming withdrawn and feeling a bit more isolated and losing independence. So it's really important that we look into why people are falling. As people get older, they do fall. So 1 in 3 people over the age of 65 will fall in a year, and as the age increases over 80, 1 in 2 people are expected to fall every year. NASS surveyed its members in 2017, and it discussed falls, and it found that over half of the people who were surveyed who'd been diagnosed for 10 years had fallen within that time between diagnosis and being diagnosed 10 years. And the people that were surveyed were actually aged between 19 and 84, so they were a much younger age group than we're talking about, and they were falling once a year. So that's quite a high rate of falls within the sort of axial SpA population. And the things that they said were causing the fall were poor balance, pain and stiffness due to their AS, and muscle weakness. So why are people with AS or AXPAR more likely to fall? And there's a number of factors. Obviously, the condition itself means that you are more stiff, your joints are stiff, and that means that your balance is affected. Often if people have had more severe disease or had a disease of a longer duration, their neck movements can be affected. And that means that people sometimes can lose the ability to actually look straight ahead or look up, and certainly in rotating. So spinal mobility has a lot to do with your balance. Also, again, if you've had longer term involvement, it may be that you have more problems with your peripheral joints, your hips, your knees, and the knees can become slightly flexed. If you are slightly more stooped, it may mean that you actually are walking with the knees and the hips slightly more flexed. So that has an input, a bearing on your mobility. And fatigue can be a problem. So often people with AS or with AXPAR can be fatigued, and that tiredness, fatigue, especially at the end of the day, can mean that is another factor that adds into balance issues. I can see a few comments, so I know that there's somebody out there, which is quite nice. There are other factors as well that lead to problems in balance. So I think what we're doing is building up a sort of list of factors that are negative to balance, so that we can then work out how we can work through those to reduce them. Now, other factors, as well as having AS, are if you have other health issues going on. So over the age of 65, 2/3 of people will have two long-term conditions. So that may be heart conditions, diabetes, and other things that are going on as well as their AS, and that again puts you more at risk and puts your balance at risk. If you have long-term conditions, you tend to have more medication, and again, if you have over 4 types of medication, your balance is often affected, and again you're more at risk. So often within your SpA, you might be taking your biologic, your anti-inflammatories, your painkillers, so you're already up to 3 types of medication without adding anything else into the mix. Visual impairment obviously can affect your balance, and again will put you at risk, and sort of environmental factors. So we've already totted up a number of risks that will put you at a higher risk than other people, and it's what we can do about those risks. What can we do to prevent it? If you've had a fall, so that you have had a fall or a near miss, it's trying to work out, if you can, what you think caused that. So was it that you were lightheaded? Did you feel dizzy? Did you black out? And if it was any of those factors, then it's really important to speak to your GP and get that checked out, check if it's your blood pressure, if you've got other things going on, so that you know that isn't going to be an issue, because often if you are going lightheaded, you need to know why that is. Before I did this, I canvassed my NASS group and got some information from them on what they felt affected their balance and what they felt were important factors. And one of the members said that when his disease was very active, he was in a lot of pain, in a lot of fatigue. He had to walk with a stick because of the pain, and he fell numerous times. And not only did he injure himself, but it also knocked his confidence and led him to be quite depressed and a bit more withdrawn. He saw his rheumatologist, and his medication was changed. He was put on medication that actually controlled the disease better, so that his pain was reduced. And because his pain was reduced, he was then able to exercise. And he found that by then exercising with reduced pain, his balance improved straight away. It improved much better because he didn't need the stick, he didn't fall, and obviously life was much better. So if you are going through a flare, or you feel that your arthritis is quite active, you feel that your pain is not manageable and it's affecting your balance, it's really important to get in touch with your rheumatologist, your GP, whoever would be the healthcare professional that you would see, to try and see if you can actually improve the AS or the SpA, so that you're feeling that the disease is more under control. Other factors that you can do is obviously regular eye tests, which is very important, making sure that you have the right glasses. Things like bifocals or varifocals, they can affect your vision, so it's getting used to new glasses if you have them, so that you are very mindful if you've changed your glasses that you just slow things down and you don't get up in quite such a rush. Medical reviews are really important, so what they would recommend is every year just having a chat with your GP and making sure that you are on the right medication, that you're still on the right dose, and it isn't medication that might make you dizzy, and just checking that you're taking the right things for the right conditions, which is important, especially if you're on numerous medications and sometimes think that medication just keeps getting added to the package that you're taking. Obviously, those are things that you can do to try and prevent or reduce your risk factors. Other things you can do is try and look at your home environment. So they think that 6 out of 10 falls will occur at home or in the garden. So that's a sort of your environment that you can literally almost defall, if you like. You can look around and think, right, what are my risk factors at home? How can I make this fall proof within the house or the garden that I'm in? Simple things, literally decluttering the walkway that you have. I know I've got my children are all off school, we've got shoes all over the place. It sometimes looks like a bit of an obstacle course to get around the house. So it's making sure that you have a good walkway to get around and you're not putting things in the way that you might fall over, particularly wires, trailing wires, try and remove those, and make sure things like rugs are put down so they're non-slip and you haven't got sort of eared ends that you might be able to trip over, and the carpet isn't frayed, that type of thing. So it's just having a bit of a sort of walk around and just check what the flooring is like. Obviously making sure that things are well lit, and I think at the moment obviously it's lighter at night, so that means that we can you don't have to put lights on till quite late. I think for SpA patients, if you're sat in a chair in an evening, it's often a time when you're going to be slightly more fatigued. If you've sat for a while, you might be slightly stiffer. So when you come to get out of the chair, you've already got a couple of risk factors going on. If you then don't have as good a lighting, you're adding another risk factor into it. So it's when you get up in an evening, or say you're getting up out of bed to go to the toilet, or just getting out of bed at night, make sure it's well lit so that you've got good vision to where you're going, which is quite important. Making sure your footwear is quite safe. Try and avoid worn out shoes, worn out slippers. I think we all get to the stage where we've got slippers that are so comfortable, but probably past their peak, that we probably potentially wear too long. So it's making sure that your footwear is non-slip, that you're not going to trip over any part of the footwear, and keeping an eye on what you are wearing, that it's not necessarily sensible footwear, but it's not going to induce a fall, or it's not going to put you at risk. And making sure that you don't wear stocking feet, socks on floor that is hard, so sort of hard flooring, laminate flooring, where you're going to slip more easily. So it's just being mindful of what you wear on the floor. Obviously things like making sure you wipe up spills, that type of thing is important as well, so you haven't got any risk of falling. What I've done is just, I didn't mention at the minute, is there will be a blog connected with this that will be on the NASS website, so all the information that I go through will be written down for you to sort of use as a reference if there's things that you think, oh, I didn't remember that, what was said. So there will be a blog with all these things listed on. If you are somebody who feels they're at risk of falling, if you've fallen numerous times, or if you feel you are at risk, then potentially carrying a mobile phone with you when you go round, or you can get alarms that you can press, personal alarms, that if you do fall, you can literally press them and it will contact somebody to come to your aid. And that may be an option to think about. If you do fall, the most important thing to do is obviously when you are falling, just literally think, how am I feeling? Just give yourself a minute just to sort of collect yourself. If you feel that you're injured and you can't get up, then obviously try and summon help. Obviously as soon as you can, get somebody to come and help you. While you're waiting for somebody to come, if you've got something that you can cover yourself with, keep warm as much as you can. Try and put something under your head if you're lying down, and any of your limbs that aren't injured, try and keep the circulation going. So if you've injured one arm but the other arm's okay, just try and keep that moving, just to keep that circulation going while you wait for somebody to come and help you. If you've laid there for a bit and you think, well, actually, yeah, I'm a bit hurt, but I can get it up, I don't think I've broken anything, then the best thing to do is to try and move yourself towards a piece of furniture that's strong, that's enable you to help you get up. So what I would do is go onto sort of all fours and then crawl to a furniture, preferably a chair if you can do, and then you can lever yourself up through your arms and sit back onto the chair. Once you get into the sitting position, it's really important that you then rest and actually let everything settle. Just make sure you feel okay and you don't feel dizzy before you stand up, especially if there was some dizziness involved in the falling. What you don't want to do is to stand straight up and fall back down again. So just give yourself time just to come around. And at that point, I would probably try and ring somebody to come and be with you, a friend, a relative, or your GP, if you feel that you need checking out. So we've obviously looked at what are the risk factors, how we can reduce those risk factors, and how to get up after a fall. Another way to reduce the risk factor is exercise. Obviously especially as a physio for AS, Axial SpA, exercise is one of the most important things you can do. So exercise to help prevent falls is one mobility exercises, which I know have been done already in the Facebook Live sessions. So keeping your mobility is really important because again, that will put you at risk of falling. So all the mobility exercises and strengthening exercises are obviously really important as well. Unfortunately, once we get to 30, we start to lose muscle strength over time. So the older you get, if you don't do any exercise at all, you don't do strengthening exercises, you will naturally lose strength. And so by strengthening on a regular basis, you're going to try and combat the effects of age, if you like, and keep the body strong. So you're strong and you're more flexible. Exercises for balance are also important, and research has been done to show that if you do exercises that are specifically tailored for balance, then you can reduce falls by up to 50%. Now, everybody is at a different stage. Obviously, I don't know anybody that's out there listening. So what I was going to do is go through some exercises and show you different stages of exercise, depending on your risk factors for falls, your age, your ability, your stage of AXPAR, and also any comorbidities. If you are particularly at risk of falling, if you've fallen many times before and you feel you're at risk, it would certainly be worth seeing a healthcare professional and getting a tailored exercise programme for yourself. Often areas have what we call fall services, and they are particularly tailored to doing exercises to prevent falls and help with balance, and I think that would be important if you are in the sort of higher risk category. The other exercises, like I say, I'll go through and we will literally talk you through different stages. It's useful perhaps to look at these first before you do them, and then you've got an idea of what's coming, if that's okay. On the bottom of my blog, there are some links to, one is to the Chartered Society of Physiotherapists, and that has a little video link of exercises similar to the ones that I will do that you can look at. There's also a link to the NHS website, and that also has some balance exercises, and there's a link to the National Axial Society, and that again has similar exercises. So you can add in and have a look at those links as well to add to it. So, one bit before we do the exercise, I will just add another little anecdote from my NASS group, which I thought was quite nice. One of the chaps that comes, who's before he started the group, he felt that his balance was getting worse. He felt it was due to age and to his condition, although he was only in his 50s, so I wouldn't say he was particularly old. He came to the group and we were doing balance exercises, and he felt that his balance wasn't as good as he perhaps hoped it would be. So he was doing the exercises with the group sessions and doing exercises at home on a regular basis. And he felt over time that this had really improved his balance, felt much more confident. And he was doing a sort of balance, I guess it was a game really, with people that had come round, people of his own age, where they literally did a sort of standing on one leg activity. And he said that his balance was much better than his friends who were similar age and didn't have any joint involvement, purely from the fact that he'd practiced, he'd built up his balance exercises, and he was really impressed that actually he was so much better than his friends just from doing it. So they do work if you stick at them. You just have to get them pitched at your level to start with. So what we'll do is I'm just going to move the chair. When you come to do the exercises, it's really important. I'm just pull back so you can see my legs, if that's okay. Got lots of, I hope that's okay. You can still hear me and see me at that point. When you come to do the exercises, it's important that you have good footwear on. I've got trainers on. They can be useful, but as long as you've got footwear that is supportive. You'll need a supportive chair or table or something that you can hold on to give you that bit of support. So like I say, to start with, probably watch the session and then you can join in at whichever level you feel you're at. So the first exercise is holding onto the back of the chair. You want to stand up tall, so you want to keep your chest lifted, your tummy in, and what you're going to do is to come up onto your tiptoes, hold it for a few seconds, and then back down again. Now obviously if you have hip, knee involvement, foot involvement, this might be difficult, so you might just come up a little way, again hold for a few seconds, and the idea is that you're just going to take the weight onto the ball of the foot, keep supported with your hands, and then back down again. Okay, so you're just coming up, keep supported, and then back down. Okay? What I would say is start low and build it up. 10 at a time is probably as many as I would do, but again, at your own level, just build up as you feel able to, and you will find hopefully that you'll be able to go that bit higher and do more as you progress. With balance exercises, I would try to do them at least twice a week. If you can fit them into daily activities so that you're doing a little bit and often, that's often an easier way of doing it without having a set exercise. So it may be the kettle's boiling, while the kettle boils, you just do some of your standing ones, holding onto your work surface. So the next one is same position, again, keep yourself up tall, and you're just going to take the weight back onto your heels, keeping supported with the chair, and back down again. Okay, so you're taking your feet, toes up, heels, weight onto the heels, and then back down. Hold it for a few seconds when you get there. So again, back up. Try and avoid sticking your bottom out, leaning forward, so you are keeping yourself upright as you do it. And so this you could again progress to doing 10 and holding for a little bit longer. If you're more able, if you haven't got any risk factors, if you have SpA, but actually your risk factors are reduced, you haven't fallen, you feel your balance is pretty good, you can try doing it without the chair for support. And you can also progress it to actually walking on your heels. Again, have something there to support you, but you could try actually walking down the room on your heels and then turning around and going back again. But that's a progression and not obviously for everybody. The next exercise is a walk standing. Obviously, if you've had recent hip surgery, you wouldn't do this. And if you have hip involvement, again, it may be difficult. So judge your own level. But the idea is that you're going to hold onto the back of the chair or your sturdy object, and you're going to take one foot in front of the other and take your weight through both feet, so that you've got yourself in a sort of, as if you're on a tightrope. If you find that's too much and you feel quite unsteady doing that, and you find that actually you need quite a wide base of support to start with to feel comfortable, just bringing your legs slightly closer together with the support will stress the balance, your balance a little bit to start with. So you might find that you can't go straight to that one foot in front of the other, but you're just going to bring your feet slightly closer together so you feel a little bit off balance. You've got your hands, obviously you're this way on, you've got your hands there, but you're not actually ready to go one foot in front. It's just building up. So you would take one leg in front, hold on, build this up to a sort of count of 10, so you've got 10 seconds, okay, and then you would take the other way around, so you take the other foot in front again, count of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's what you would build up to. Again, to progress the exercise, so if you felt that you're managing that quite easily, as you practice, you could hold on to something, work surface or a table. I've got the wall on this side, and you could literally walk down the wall as if you were on a tightrope, one leg in front of the other. I'm not sure you can see my feet there, I've got back a bit. So you're going to literally walk one foot in front of the other, holding on to start with. And if you feel that you can manage without holding on, you could then do it without holding on. So certainly in the NASS sessions that I run, we're in a gym with really lovely long painted lines along the floor. So we'll each stand on a line and we walk down the gym on a line as if we're on a tightrope. And that's where the sort of aim would be if you're progressing the exercises, if you don't have lots of other risk factors. Another exercise you could try is a lunge. I think you can just about see my feet, I do apologise. Is a sort of three-way lunge. And the idea would be that you're going to lunge forward a little way and then come back. You're going to go out to the side a little way and come back, and you're going to go behind and come back. So what you would do is, if you need support, is hold on to, again, the back of a chair. You're not going to go down too low if you feel that that's uncomfortable or you feel unsteady. What you don't want to do is obviously fall doing the exercises. So you're going to come forward and then come back, side, come back and behind. And the point of this exercise particularly is that if you do trip or stumble, you've then got that ability to correct yourself. If you sort of trip a little bit, you've got that muscles in that direction to actually help if you were to stumble. So again, holding on, little way, and again, as things improve, as you feel stronger, you can go down a little bit further, don't go down too far, and back up, hold it a little bit longer, out to the side, yep, that's okay, and back again. And again, if you don't need the hand, you can go to sort of from hand to fingertip support and actually take it off if you feel able to, but obviously don't put yourself at any risk. Next one is standing on one leg. So if you're able to, again, depends on your lower limb joints, you may start off by just going on to toe tip on the other side, holding on to support. If you feel able to lift the leg up. So again, on one leg. Hold it, start off with a count of 10, however, sort of build it up as able, and then swap to the other side. And just gradually build that time up. So the chap I was talking about in the AS group, he would put the kettle on and stand on one leg and gradually increase up the time that he could stand on his foot, and would start with his hands on, and then gradually he went to fingertips, and after practicing for a number of weeks was able to take his hands away. Still had that there if he wobbled, but could go to no support. And it's just trying to increase things up as able. If you are more advanced, again, if you're somebody who has less risk factors and you're able to stand on one leg, you could practice doing something else at the same time, catching a ball. This isn't going to be for everybody, obviously. I think in the on the NASS website, where they've got exercises in the morning, I think the chap is cleaning his teeth standing on one leg. So there's lots of ways you can fit that into your daily activities, but use the amount of support that you feel is safe. The last exercise that I want to show you is just a sit to stand. I've got lots of questions coming up, so we'll go through those in a second, if that's okay. So, literally in sitting, the idea would be that you're just going to stand up. I say just going to stand up. If you need some support from your hands, then you would push down through the chair. If you don't, then obviously try not to, but again, make sure that you're safe before you come to do it. And the idea is that you would stand up, push through your legs, so you're using the big quads muscle at the front, the glutes at the back, and stand up. Then make sure you can feel the chair behind you and come back down slowly. So again, if you need support from the hands, you would use the hands. If you don't, try not to come slowly up. Make sure you can feel the chair behind you and slowly come back down again. And that's another exercise that again you can fit into if you're watching the telly, say in an evening, and a break comes on, the channel changes and you feel that you're at a point where, yep, I feel strong enough, I'm balanced, I could try a few. You could add some into that time. It's whenever is a good time for you to exercise. So, slide 4 again. So those are some exercises that you can have a look at. Like I say, there's different stages of them. Do whatever you feel comfortable doing, and certainly if you feel no, I am more at risk, then it is worth speaking to your physio or healthcare, whoever that you would speak to as a healthcare professional, your GP, to get a referral and get some that are a bit more tailor-made for yourself. But hopefully that gives you an idea, and obviously there's the YouTube clips at the same time. So I'm going to have a look and see if I can manage the questions, which we'll have a look through. There's a question from Beth that says about knee buckling, and is that normal with AS? I think it very much depends on where you're getting joint problems. Certainly if you're having problems within the knee, then for the knee to give way, that can be normal. It may be that you need to see a physio about specific knee exercises, and I would say if your knee is giving way on a regular basis, or even just every so often ad hoc, it's worth having a proper referral and somebody actually assessing your knee and checking there isn't anything wrong within the knee structure that you need specific exercises for. If the knee is giving way, obviously that does put you very much at risk of fall, so I would try and get a referral, perhaps to get somebody to have a good look at your knee and give you some specific exercises for the quads at the front of the knee. I think that would be really a good thing to try and do. Just having a little look down. So yeah, so Rory's on about Rory's a member of our NASS group, and again, yeah, obviously things like alcohol can affect your ability to balance. It's just being mindful if you do have a drink, that you don't overdo it, or you're aware of where your environment is, and it is important to be mindful. As I say, it's looking at the risk factors. If you've got 10 risk factors that make you liable to fall and you add an 11th, then that might be the bit that tips you over the edge. If you only have one risk factor, it's just being mindful of not overdoing it. Just having a little look down. I can't see any more questions. I don't know if I can look at any more, so I shall have a whiz up. So I think, looking at that is probably all the questions. What I will say is, if there are any other questions, put them on and we can have a look at them after the session, which is not a problem. We can get back to you. Next week's session is a Pilates session, so I think that's going to be Wednesday. That is going to be Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and that will be with Wiebke Reichardt, and she's going to do Pilates, which, if you've not done Pilates before, is really helpful with AS, and certainly worth having a look at. So hopefully that has answered some of the questions on balance. I've just had another look at some questions. So what I will do is, I'm just sorry to hear a little bit more. I can't press the button on any more questions, unfortunately, so I'm struggling with that. What I will do is, if you have any questions, write them down and I will get back to you after the session, if that's okay. So yeah, hopefully that's answered some questions on sort of balance exercises. The blog will be on the NASS website, and you'll be able to watch this again if there's anything you need to sort of go through, and hopefully enjoy your Pilates next week. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.